Tabitha and Lou, and we're at the Camas Library, and we decided to do a more serious issue this week on suicide. It's astounding that the statistics are going so high, especially with teens in particular. There's 56% increase in the last 10 years. So Cheryl, who runs Our City Cares, or created it, she is involved with helping prevent suicide. So we wanted to discuss this subject with her. And the more we talk about it, hopefully the more people we can help.
You've probably seen those signs around town and outside of the schools, beautiful affirmation signs around town. Well, Cheryl is the lady behind this. So Cheryl, what made you get involved at the beginning?
Well, the story started out of my own tragedy. In August of 2016, I lost my 25-year-old son to suicide. And then following that, in the following year, in the Camas-Washougal area, we had several other suicides. And I think it was after those other ones just piled on top of my son's that the mad mom in me rose up and said, I got to think of something to do. And so that's where I started getting the idea, from the signs to our community information cards, and uniting is the community is our primary thing, in that if a lot of us get involved doing whatever we can make a difference and we can turn this around. We can't just be silent.
Right.
We've got to talk about it, expand the conversation to the root cause, which is loss of hope, and anyone could go down that road.
So what are the statistics right now on children committing suicide in the last couple of years, would you say?
Well, I know that there's a new study out by the CDC that tells us that in the age category of 14 to 25, it is the second leading cause of death, but many people actually think it's the first leading cause, because the first leading cause is accidental death. So there's a lot of suicides that are actually reported as accidental deaths. And so it's very possible that it is the number one thing that is taking our young people.
Right. So Cheryl, how did you come up with the affirmation signs to be your project, if you will?
Well, there is a movement of hope that started in Newburgh, Oregon, that has these signs that are just signs of affirmation. And she started her movement at about the same time, so we were kind of doing the same thing, but my purpose was to connect people to services, and hers was just to affirm people. So I kind of merged the two ideas together, because like I said, to me it was really important to have the words of affirmation, which is a proven thing. To everybody needs encouragement. The affirmation is important for all of us, and that. So I looked for, first of all, messages that were universal truths that we could all agree on and unite around. So nothing that was clearly religious or anything like that, but clear affirmations that we could all unite around. So that was my first kind of measuring stick that nobody could argue about. Nobody can argue about don't give up, or your life matters, or.
And I do love those affirmations, because even if you're not depressed, you can have an off day and
Yes.
you see those signs, and before I knew it was you, I'm like, these are awesome signs.
That the cause of this is for the children nowadays, especially with it being such a young age.
Yes.
It's affecting.
Well, I think there's a lot of things, and the CDC report does say be careful not to minimize it to one, but there is agreement across the board that social media is a problem. And that,
I agree.
And that the culture that our kids are living in, that is immediate gratification. So I think one thing that we could be doing is helping to raise awareness of what are common thoughts that all of us have when we're down, and that any of us could have those bad days, and how do we talk about how to get out of that. So I'm hoping that we can raise that voice of hope, get our parents, get our teachers talking about what do you do when you feel down and you need to get uplifted. And the truth is, there's more of us that are making that choice to get through these hard times. So let's raise that voice so the kids hear it, that it's common to have down times. And life has seasons, and seasons change, but there's always hope. There is a way, and there's always someone that can help. And that's the other part of our campaign, is trying to connect people to services through our community information cards and our signs. And the good news is, if I can add this to it, we have had the affirmation from our county crisis line that it's working because people are calling.
Oh, that's so fun. Good news.
Fantastic.
That's good news, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the discussion, you know, as parents, you have to have it with kids, but just as a society as a whole, like, because it does affect any age group.
Yes.
I know some signs to look out for with your children are if they're becoming unsocial, they're kind of hiding away in their room, their grades being affected, if they start using drugs and alcohol. So those are some things you can watch out for. I'm not an expert.
And sometimes you don't know.
Yes.
You do not know at all.
Yes.
So I think that it's a very easy out to let your child go on their computer or hide away in their bedroom. Sometimes you have those days, but I really think that just social interaction with the child more is a really big deal.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I agree, and I think that I thank you for saying that you can't always tell, because that is our story. We didn't have any signs or symptoms, and sometimes when you're sitting in our seat, hearing that, it just adds to the pain for us. What did we miss? So there definitely are those kinds of withdrawing, lack of interest in things that you previously had interest in before, just not eating, not sleeping, those kinds of things. All of those, I would say, at least symptoms of depression or anxiety that are clearly causes. But
Yeah, and go to ourcitycares.org for more information.